Good evening and welcome to Black Feminism Media. Here with me, Kwabnabi Bini Berry Mike, and call me DJ Fuad. It's been a long time that we met here on this space here on Facebook and YouTube at Black Feminism Media. Those of you who have been following, I've been telling you that we are coming away with an amazing program called The Men's Voice. It sounds crazy, right? Yes, The Men's Voice. The Men's Voice is a program that is aimed at waking men up, making men realize that the world men have built and the world men will continue to build, the one that we've built, out of the men's generosity, feminism is about to destroy it, collapse it. Those of us in Africa, it may sound weird for me to sit in Africa and even have programs about feminism. Or thinking of men's voice. Why men's voice? Because on the surface, it looks like all men have voices. Yes, that is how it looks. It looks like men have voices than any other human being or creature. So why should someone sit somewhere and say that men need voice? Or there should be a program that gives a platform that gives men a voice, or there should be a platform where men go to voice out what they are going through or how things, the dynamics in our world currently. Yes, so it may sound a bit crazy to realize that somebody crazy somewhere is thinking of coming out with a program that suggests to give men a voice. Yes. And today is just the opening of this amazing podcast that will be coming your way right here on Black Feminism Media on Facebook and YouTube. But the beautiful thing is that as the program progresses, many of us are going to understand why men need a platform to voice out, why, and also why we in Africa really need to take a serious look at feminism. Because as I said, it looks like if you are not somebody who is a bit futuristic, you may think that, oh, everything is okay. Feminism is a program of the West. It will never get to us. Yes. I have been trying to come out with a program like this for a long time. But anytime I try to put this show together, what comes to mind is that, well, why do you think about feminism in Ghana? What should you think about the dangers of feminism in Africa? You know, but upon some consideration, I realized that, look, feminism is a serious problem for the whole world, especially the West, where it started from. And it's just a matter of time that it can cause a massive distraction to us, just like it has done in the West. And for us, if we don't wake up early to look at the dangers of feminism, the consequences will be more dire than what is happening in the West, even though what is happening in the West is sad, pathetic, and crazy. If we in Africa, in Ghana, don't take steps to look at it as fast as possible, it can be a serious threat to our existence, and it will just cause distraction in our social life and all of that. And even though I keep saying that feminism is not as dangerous in Africa, in Ghana, as it is in the West, my research shows that it is actually here, but not as dangerous as it is in the West. And why is it so? Well, I would say that it's just a matter of time. It is just a matter of time that it can take a serious turn here in Africa. So tonight, let's go straight into our topic. And we are asking a question. Is feminism really about equality? Yes. Is feminism really about equality? Because I think I will not bother myself going through all the dictionary and whatever the definitions of feminism. But in a simple term, it's a movement that seeks the well-being, the welfare, the empowerment of women. Seeks to advocate, its advocacy movement or group that seeks to look at females' rights and human rights in general. Yes. So if we're going by the definition, I don't think anyone would waste their time discussing or talking about the dangers of feminism. But the truth of the matter is that the actuality, the practicality, the result of feminism for the past 60 years, 70 years in the West, where it started, says a different thing. Says a different thing about the movement. So today, we are going to take a look at equality. And then we look at if feminism is actually not about equality, what is it about? Or if feminists will want to force us to give us examples of equality that they fight for, then we also look at the kind of equality that feminists mostly, when they are pushed, the kind of equality that they want. And all their examples in the West, in the countries where they are strong, where they are causing the most havoc or mayhem, we'll look at. We'll look at the kind of equality that our feminists want. So today we'll just look at and let viewers and listeners get to know, first of all, why feminism is not about equality. And then we let people know the kind of equality that feminists actually want, which is equality of craziness. So what is equality? A system or instances where privileges, rights, or everything, opportunities in particular, are equally distributed or people have access to it. People are not denied certain things because of their race, their gender, their color, and all of that. Somebody can also say fairness to a large extent, but let's stick to the word equality. There are two types of equality if we want to talk about feminism here. Equality of outcomes and equality of opportunities. And I think that anyone that is not mad, that is not insane, will never speak against women, children, whoever fighting for equality of opportunity. But if you have taken your time studying the West, where feminism started and where it has caused the most havoc, you get to realize that women actually are not after equality of opportunities, because they know that if they push the agenda of equality of opportunity too much, they'll be exposed. So what women feminists, I will use the word feminist most of the time, because not all women who are feminist. And as a matter of fact, a lot of women who used to call themselves feminists are now running away. A lot of men who used to call themselves male feminists have now regretted. And as the show progresses, we will continue to give you some of these instances. Okay? We'll give you some of these instances to know men who used to call themselves feminists, who says, it's okay, I can't be part of this toxic movement. Women who actually used to call themselves feminists, who have also denounced a lot of people, including young women in the UK, in the US, who are now denouncing. Why? Because the thing is dangerous. And those of you watching live on YouTube, don't forget to like the video and also subscribe. And if you're watching on Facebook, do so by liking the page and liking the video on Facebook. Thank you. So let's continue. So feminists realize that if they limit their agenda on equality of opportunities, it will make sense, but at the same time, it will not give them exactly what they want. The main sinister reason why they formed this movement to start with. And sometimes sometimes I go like, maybe it is the 100 men who were part of the day feminism was launched in New York in 1848. There were 300 people made out of 200 men and 100 men. Because if you look at all the havoc, the destruction, the disgrace feminism has brought onto women, the cost-90 job that feminism is bringing onto women, one would be tempted to think that maybe some of these majority men who helped to launch feminism in 1848 in New York had an agenda, and they realized that maybe if they come out with this agenda by themselves as men, it wouldn't be received well. So let them use women. Some women, let me say. That's another thing that I'm still researching, and it's difficult for me to understand how a group of people will come up with a movement like this, which pinnacle destroys everything the women have fought for. Yes, in the subsequent podcast, we'll discuss how feminism is destroying everything women stand for, everything women has fought for. So feminists and feminism, actually, they present this, but actually this is what they mean. So they make it look like they are fighting for equality of opportunities. So what is equality of opportunity? Example of equality of opportunity. For example, it used to be only men who were recruited into the military, police, fire service. After the Beijing conference, they say what men can do, they can do and do it better. That's another discussion. This discussion. Now, So they present a proposal, a motion, and they march on it that, hey, women can also join the military. Give us opportunity to join. Then, as listening as men are, men opened the door. Women entered. We all know that biologically, they are not as useful as men in the military. But hey, we want to create egalitarian society. So that is a typical example of opportunity, equality of opportunity. Now, if you go to the West, or if you move your lens to the West, as far as feminism is concerned, you get to realize that what feminists actually want is not equality of opportunities, because they know that men has never cried about some opportunities that is afforded women because of their biology. Men have not, I'm yet to see a man that is crying over any privilege, opportunity that is afforded women because of who they are, because of their biological physical makeup. No man is doing that. But feminists want women to go for anything that men does. That is also a sign of insecurity, a sign of inferiority complex of the highest degree. Because the moment a person wants to be everything like somebody else, there's a lot going on. So feminists want equality of outcomes, which is crazy. I don't know if I will have the opportunity to go deeper into that tonight. Yes. So feminists actually want equality of opportunities, equality of outcomes instead of equality of opportunities, because the agenda is not to fight for anything they deserve that their biology can help them to administer or work with it perfectly and efficiently, ultimately, so that it will benefit themselves and the larger society. The reason why this world is intact and is doing amazing is because men, the creators of the infrastructure of this world, have stick to the things that are aligned to our biology, that are aligned to our physical well-being or structure, and we are delivering. Men are delivering. Men have delivered. But women are not calling, feminists are not just calling for anything that their biology will help them. As a matter of fact, feminists want women to abandon the things that they can do and do it better, to go for things that they cannot. So for me, in my research about feminism and my research leading up to this podcast, The Man's Voice, I came to the conclusion that if men don't wake up, especially men in Africa and in Ghana here, because the trend, this is the trend. The trend is that anytime the West coughs, Africa, Ghana catches cold, whether we like it or not. That's a fact. So even though feminism is not rooted as it is in the West, like UK, Canada, and US, and all those places, the possibility of it spreading here and taking sinister hold here is just days away. Just a matter of time. And in Ghana, we have a proverb that if you see your brother's beard on fire, get closer to a bucket of water. But I said that if you see your brother's beard on fire, jump into the sea. So a lot of people I know will begin to get mad at me, will begin to bash me, that what is wrong with me? Why would I come out with a show about the negatives, the toxic nature of feminism, and the real motives of feminism? Yes, I know people will come and advocate that there are some good in feminism. Why am I not looking at that? Okay, the good has not taken over where it started, and the good will never take over. The so-called good of feminism will never take over in Africa. If feminism is going to penetrate into a society, it is the sinister one, it is the toxic one, the radical feminism that is going to be here. So back to equality of outcomes. So you meet a feminist, whether old or young, you ask them, what are some opportunities, privileges that men have in 2023 that women don't? They can go silent for 24 hours. And after 24 hours of silence, they amazingly tell you that men receive higher salary than women. And when you refute that the pay gap does not exist, based on proper analysis, you get shocked once again, where a highly educated feminist woman will look into your eyes and say that boys and men can go bare-chested in the street. I can't. You go like seriously? You call this a privilege? So maybe the way men were created, it affords us to be able to go bare-chested for a little distance around our homes in town without causing serious stir. And feminists they tell you that they want the same, which is not equality of opportunity, but equality of outcomes. And when you stay with the debate on pay gap, that women receive less salary than men, and you tell them that, look, biologically, evolutionally, you women love things pertaining to people or human beings. Men, biologically, our body structure and our mindset and our duty by nature, we love things pertaining to things. That is why men have created this world that is everybody's living in. But they would understand. They go to the street, march, make noise that women are oppressed. Women are not having the same opportunity that men have. Today is just the opening of the podcast. So we will not go into much details. So today we are only dealing with opportunity, equality of opportunity and equality of outcomes. You understand? And anytime an individual, a person, a group of people like feminists begin to fight for equality of outcomes, what they are trying to tell you is that they don't want to work for the things they are calling for. It must be given to them on silver platter. That's shocking to hear, right? Yes. As this show goes on, I'm going to give you evidence, documented evidence, that tells you that feminists are not about equality. They are all about outcomes. And there's nothing wrong with somebody trying to look for certain outcomes, but you got to work for it. And a typical example of feminist fixation on equality of outcome is affirmative actions. I'm not saying all affirmative actions are bad, but there are some affirmative actions that the world must relook at. Because you go to Beijing and say that what men can do, women can do, and do it even better. Hallelujah. Then you come home and come and tell me that when it is election, so there are some places, political parties should reserve those places for only women. That's an insult. Through affirmative action. If women or anybody is fighting for affirmative action on scholarships, based on scholarship, like, okay, if boys and girls write exams and we look at an area where there's not enough girls going to school, they can cut a quota for girls based on their academic success or strength. So you merit it. Feminists don't want equality based on merit. Feminists want things, radical feminism want things handed onto them on a silver platter. And that's a dangerous thing. And feminism is actually rooted in pure hate. It's rooted in pure hate. You get what I'm saying? So today you meet a 20-year-old girl who tells you, especially the black woman, who tells you that women were oppressed. And these black women are punishing their black counterpart men as if some black man oppressed a woman. But these are all serious topics that we'll be going into one by one. And also, as a matter of purpose, this show is here to make men wake up. And this show, what this show is not about is to hate women. No. This show is not about dissing women or hating women. No. This show is about we seeing something that is dangerous about feminism and build a war against it. And because feminism has taken over this world since the 1960s up to date, majority of ideas, things that we do, the way we think, is run by women's ideas. And the results in the West is abysmal. Feminism has affected children badly. Feminism has affected women themselves more badly. Feminism has affected our education system badly. Feminism has affected relationship, marriage so negatively, and it is destroying society. And you know, naturally, women don't want accountability. Women don't want to be called out for their negative choices, negative behaviors. And feminism make it better for them. Okay? And because of this, feminists are destroying our society. So this show, as it progresses, the men's voice is going to let men realize how we've been thinking every day, like some men have been thinking every day like women without knowing. Because where feminism is taking the world, which has totally manifested in the West, if men in Africa do not see between the lines and wake up early, the work of reconstruction would be difficult. Because even in the West, it's not easy. I always use even in the West, because the West have resources to mitigate problem. But the problems that feminists bring to bear is not one that your resources can easily solve. That's the truth. So we in Africa are lucky, and will be luckier to have such shows from on the continent, so that men learn early. When feminism started in the West had not practiced it before. I'm not sure they would have allowed it to flourish. When feminism started in the West had not practiced it before, so the men didn't know that feminism, ladies and gentlemen, was not about equality, but it was about hating men. Hating the patriarchy. As if men were the ones that went into a laboratory, created ourselves as we are, and created women as they are. That's serious. If you look at the reasons they hate women, especially 21st century women, half for men, because of feminism, it looks like we men created feminists, or women in general, the way they are. And we created ourselves to empower them physically. But you see, we can be equal complementary. If we complement each other well, then there's no someone bigger than the other. But the moment one sect reject who they are, wanting to become everything that the other person is, then there's nothing left for all of us. And that is what feminism does. And that's what feminism has done to the West. And that is why the man's voice is here, to let men wake up and then do the opposite of what the West did, by allowing feminism to grow in their society, not knowing what it was about to do to them. The man's voice will also help men to understand the female-male dynamics for social interactions, for relationship, for marriage, and all of that. And also, let me now speak to my men. Because feminism took over since 1960s, there's a way we think about our women, where some men even blame women, which shouldn't be the case. There are some instances that men blame women, that women have done nothing wrong. And as I told you, personally, that's how I am. It doesn't matter how bad somebody is. If they do one thing good, I'll point it out. So this show will let men understand certain things and means and instances where we blame women for nothing. One of them example is that, I told you today we're not going into details, a typical example where men blame women for doing nothing, for just following their biological instincts and their evolutionary instincts, is men crying that women love money, love resources when they are going into relationships. They have done nothing wrong. As a matter of fact, I side and I support Cancer Literate for saying a couple of years ago that as a woman, never allow a poor man to marry you. Yes. And he defined a poor man. A poor man is a man, to him, a poor man is the man that does not have a place of abode. He doesn't have a place he sleeps. Can't feed himself morning, afternoon, and evening, plus Obolo or Fanta or Coke. If a man does not have a place he sleeps, cannot feed himself morning, afternoon, and evening, no woman should allow themselves to have a relationship that can potentially bring a child into this world. Because if it happens and the man is not able to take care of the woman and the child, the woman is the one that will suffer. We'll go deeper into all of these dynamics so that where men have fallen in terms of being responsible and understanding why women do certain things, we're going to give it to them. We're going to give it to ourselves. Whilst we keep opening our eyes about how dangerous feminism is. So that as a man, because I'll give you videos where some feminists think that for their problem to be solved, men should be killed. They say they should store men's sperm somewhere so that when you give birth and it's a male, you kill it. If it's a girl, you keep it. I'll give you instances so that the man's voice will make men conscious of what is going on around us, between ourselves and our beautiful counterparts, women, so that when you see a feminist, a radical feminist, you run. Don't give your sperm, your time, anything to a radical feminist. Because people that say they don't need a man don't need your dick. Mr. Dixon, good evening to you. So before I go, let me pull up an article written by a feminist, which was published in the Washington Post. And this article clearly shows that feminists do not want equality of opportunities. They don't want to work for things. They want things to be given to them because they are feminist. So I'm reading the last paragraph of this hateful article. The title of the article, right after listening to me, you can go to Google and type, "Why Can't We Hate Men?" It was published by the Washington Post. And you read the full article and you understand where I'm coming from. So it says, so the whole article was giving instances why men should have the right to hate men. So the last paragraph, this is what she says. So men, if you really are with us and would like us to not hate you for all the millennia of woe you have produced and benefited from, start with this. Learn out so we can actually just stand up without being beaten down. Pledge to vote for feminist women only. Pledge to vote for feminist women only. Mark that one. So this is a typical example and definition of opportunity of outcome. She wants to go into parliament, to go to the Senate, to go to the whatever without competition. So then go to Beijing and say that what men can do, women cannot do, and do it better. Then, if we are giving you something without merit, it's understandable. But you don't brandish yourself as you are even better than us. And things that we are better at, you want us to give it to you on a silver platter to say that we shouldn't vote for anyone, but should vote only for feminist women. Okay, so it says, learn out so that we can actually just stand up without being beaten down. Pledge to vote for feminist women only. Don't run for office. This is so, men, if you don't understand the meaning of opportunity of outcome versus the opportunity of equality of outcomes versus equality of opportunity, this is it. If somebody contests an election and wins, that is equal. If a woman contests an election with a man and win, or even with a woman and win, that is equality of opportunity. But if men don't contest, step down for a woman, that's equality of outcome, where the person who is enjoying that privilege did not work for it. Vote for feminist women only. Don't run for office. Don't be in charge of anything. Talking about men, telling men, if men don't want women to hate us, this is what we should do. We shouldn't run for office. We shouldn't be in charge of anything. We should vote for only feminist women. Step away from power. We got this. And please know that your crocodile tears won't be wiped away by us anymore. We have every right to hate you. So I told you, feminism is not about fighting for equality. It's about hating men, teaching other women to hate men for no reason. Yes, we'll go into their primary reasons why they started. We'll go into that. But in 21st century, it doesn't make sense. We have every right to hate you. You have done us wrong because patriarchy. It is long past time to play hard for team feminism and win. So this little article, the latter part of the article, which is the last paragraph, tells you that one, feminism is about hating men. So the title of the article is Why Can't We Hate Men? When you go to Google, type Why Can't We Hate Men? It was published by the Washington Post. You understand? And the demands that this female feminist writer made from men was that men, if you don't want us, and that is narcissistic. If you don't want us to hate you, don't run for office. Don't do anything. Don't be in charge of anything. Stay away from power. Nonsense. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for staying and sticking with us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel at Blacknificent Media and like the videos and share, because this is deep education. And share among your groups and friends. And on Facebook is Blacknificent Media. Like the page and let's move on. The show has been The Man's Voice with me, Kwabena Bibini Berima. You can call me DJ Fuad.